Doing a little tech check here to make sure all systems are go. Just give us 1 second. Yes, awesome. Okay. We are here today for Shine Insiders Live. I'm Heather Burgett, your host, and I'm bringing you incredible powerhouse women from my community, consultants, creatives, women founders who are getting out there and getting visible, making an impact, and helping change lives to make the world a better place. And today we are talking to the incredibly talented Giovannie Cruz, who is a film and TV actress. You probably will recognize her from shows like Queen of the South. She's got things coming up like Walker on the CW. She's going to be in the film Reminiscence with Hugh Jackman. You might have seen her on NCIS, New Orleans, owns Queen Sugar. She also is just in the film for the premiere of Jacob's Wife at South by Southwest. It just happened. And she also mentors actors with her program, The Actorpreneur's Way. So this is the incredible Giovannie, also not to mention former opera singer, hello, and talented musician. So welcome, Giovannie. It's great to have you here today.
Hi, that's a great intro.
Yeah, well, you wrote it, my dear. So this
I know, but like hearing it out loud, I'm like, wow, I impressed me. That's great.
Yeah, and that's great. Of course, one of the first things we did as you came into my ecosystem and sphere of the work we do is really getting that positioning, the messaging, the marketing, your bio, your story, all of that clear so that when we present you, people they can get you really quickly in terms of your credibility, authority. And then, of course, we also talk about the humanity side, which we'll dig in a little deeper to that. So I would love to dig into your visibility journey because I have seen just in the past few months, an incredible trajectory for yourself. And I would love to share sort of like where you started, what it was like to step in, to make the decision to step in to higher visibility. And then, of course, where you are now. So, and I will just start by saying that some of the things that I know where we're at, we'll dig into some of the challenges, but you were talking about being in a growth spurt and that's happening because you're in the community and you have the focus and the trainings to support you with that growth, and that you've been growing your word of mouth for your business and connecting with like-minded female filmmakers and entrepreneurs that are starting to help you with your career. You're getting more visible, you're getting more, raising your rates, getting more money or abundance in your sphere, you have more confidence in your work, clarity in that purpose and messaging that we talked about, more growth, more reach, reaching more people with your message, and getting more gigs and clients. So these are all incredible things that are possible when you do this work. So 6 months ago, when we were starting to talk about you stepping into this work, where were you and what did you think about the visibility work?
I, like many people, was just not a fan of social media in 2020. I mean, there was a lot going on. And even before that, I was just kind of like, nobody wants to see me or my dog, or, people get tired of me humble bragging about gigs that I've booked or shows that I'm going to do or whatever. And I really just felt like nobody really cares. I'm just little old me, But then I really started thinking about it, and I'm like, just kicking myself in the butt thinking about it, going, Giovannie, you have some incredible opportunities coming at you this next year in 2021. And what best way to step into that but by capitalizing, off of those things that are going to come out, and finally launching your own production company, which has been a dream of mine for years. But the big problem that I had was I didn't want to commodify myself. And I think a lot of women kind of fall into that, where we're like, we don't want to commodify ourselves because commodifying ourselves means opening ourselves up to objectification and trolls and unwanted attention. And of course, I didn't want any of that. I'm like, okay, well, you've got to take the good with the bad, right? When you open yourself up, you're opening yourself up to everything. And I really, really struggled with that. What's interesting is since I've started kind of expanding my network and opening up, I haven't experienced any of that.
Yeah, I love you
So,
even said, I think that it was a myth you had created in your own mind of these terrible things that would happen if you got more visible.
right. Yeah. I thought, all these you creepy people are going to come out and start messaging me, and I'm going to have to deal with weird messages and weird comments from people. And I've never been able to just kind of deal with that. I mean, I don't know too many people who can just, and if they can, they have like armored skin, right? But yeah, I was just really afraid of what might come, not seeing what would come, and the mindset aspect of that. For instance, if my perfect audience are people like myself and that are interested in Latino culture, in sci-fi, in comic books, like nerds, and also people who love television and people who love film and people who love music. That's really broad, but there are some people who really dive deep into that. And if I could talk to those people, then they will come, right? And so yeah, that's basically what you taught me is if I could not, I'm not for everyone, and that's okay, but the people that I am for, when I start talking to them, they will show up.
Exactly. That's where you become very magnetic. And just by truly tapping into your joy of what lights you up and what you love to talk about and share with the world in an authentic way, you become very magnetic to the people who resonate with your message out there. And those are the people we're trying to meet. If someone doesn't resonate with your message, that's okay. And they can, move on. And that's basically what all of this is about, is focusing your time, money, energy into the places where they're going to put you in contact with your ideal audience, your ideal clients, the people that truly resonate with you as a human being, for what you're teaching and bringing and sharing to the world. So I have loved watching you do this, and I'd love to back it up even further.
Sure.
And yeah, your story is so fascinating of where you came from, right? So as a Puerto Rican, born in Germany, then growing up in a Texas Army town with a very low income school district that was riddled with gangs and drugs. I mean, you had some very interesting formative years feeling very marginalized and undervalued. And I love that you have learned over the years to really start trusting your inner voice. And I know that was also like a big step for you, like shifting into a container and community like this one. Literally, that was, there was so much heat and you were breaking out in hives as we were talking about.
Yeah.
This big shift for you and this big step, and just honoring that this is very real stuff that people like yourself are moving through when they commit to going out into the world in a bigger way. So can you talk a little bit about that stuff that came up for you, what the shift was like?
Yeah, so I struggled a lot with lack mindset. I know so many people that do. And growing up, I heard a lot of, we can't do that, we can't afford that, that's not for us, that's for those people. So I heard a lot of limiting talk from my family and peer group and just my community in general. Like, that's for them, this is for us. And so there were a lot of the dreams that I had, I believed that they were not for me or that I couldn't really go for it. And then at some point, and I don't remember when it was, and I think it was in high school, I realized I could speak up for myself. And, I could develop autonomy and make my own choices because it's my life, and stand up to the people who are telling me no. And one of the ways that I did that was when I went into my opera program at UNT. I actually got rejected from school. I got rejected from the school, from the program, but I decided I was going to go there anyway. And I literally thought, if the front door's closed, I'm going to find a side door. And I went and auditioned for the choir, and the choir teacher, the head choir teacher, director heard me and was like, I insist that you go to the dean of the department and audition for him. And I lied to him, and I told him that I didn't audition for the school already, and I got in. So I have tenacity. All of that to say, I developed a sense of tenacity. But when it came to coming into the container, it was like I had to stretch myself even more. And financially, I had to stretch myself. Again, growing up super, super poor, hearing no a lot, I was thinking, how in the world? I really want to do this thing. I know it's for me. Heather's an amazing person. We have this amazing connection. My body is telling me yes, but something here is saying stop. Do not proceed. We can't do this. And I think what we witnessed in that conversation that we had together was, yeah, my body was breaking out in hives because I had this mind-body disconnect. It was just like, it was wild. It was wild. And the first thing that you said to me was, we're going to have to work on your scarcity mindset. We're going to have to work on your alignment, because when you're aligned, it will come. Don't worry about that. And we spent probably 2 months working on how I could increase my business and my income so that I could use my extra time and effort and energy to actually commit to the things that I want to commit to. So in that process, you and several of my Shine sisters, hi if you're watching, basically convinced me, scolded me, did everything like to stop worrying about it and to increase my prices. So that's one of the first things I did was I increased my own prices, and I saw my own clients not have any problem with paying 100% more than what I was asking of them previously. So in the past, it was just like, what have I been doing all these years if I've just been giving it away, essentially? And so now I know better, and I also know that as I grow as a professional, my rates should grow as well. And that may seem like duh to so many people, but for me, because I had lack mindset, I was just so concerned with like what other people were gonna think, and that the moment I raised my prices, they would say, "Oh no, we can't do that," or I would lose business. But again, the opposite is true. So.
Oh my gosh, I love this. I'm like tingling all over just hearing your story, because this is the work, right? We start with that inner work. We tackle those things that have been stopping you up until this point. Mm-hmm. And we open the door or windows, whatever it may be, to a new possibility for yourself. And that's exactly what you did. You first allowed yourself to even believe that this was possible for you. You got into that alignment, and then now it's just been all uphill from there, baby.
Yeah, so far it's been really good. I've learned so much. Well, I don't think I can unlearn what I know now. And it's great because everything that I've learned, I'm able to, pass on my knowledge to some of my clients who are wanting to increase their visibility. Obviously, I'm not telling them your secrets. They got to pay for that. But just the simple things, like don't worry about attracting the wrong kind of attention. Don't worry about, writing the wrong thing or saying the wrong thing. Half of the really hard part about expanding is just putting yourself out there in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And that's also, I love that you talk about the mindset shift also as a creative. And this is the same for a lot of women founders, is they think they have to wait for something big to be happening to be doing this work, where it's actually the reverse. It's actually, this work is the stuff that gets you to that place where you can make the big announcements, right? So you want to build it and bake it into all that you're doing through your writing, your speaking, the media, all of the organic ways that you can build and grow and attract that ideal audience, those ideal soul dream clients, right? Without having to do endless content, spinning your wheels, pay for big Facebook ad campaigns, right? Like this has all been, as much as we say it's simple, maybe it's not always easy. There is work involved. But I think as you're explaining here, people are seeing like there is just a little shifting that can happen. And then it opens the doorways to the sky being the limit, where all these new possibilities are coming in for you.
Yeah, I've just had to toggle all those no's to yeses. I had to just learn to trust. I think part of it too is I have a bit of a problem just openly trusting people. And so I even remember in our first conversation, you were like, whoa, I feel a lot of resistance coming up. What's happening? And you just kind of, just talked me through it and walked me through it. I really, truly believe that if it wasn't for you acknowledging, you seeing my resistance, that I wouldn't have walked through it in that moment when my body was breaking out in hives, that I would have just kind of been like, no, I can't do this. And I would have just closed the screen, and because we did it all over Zoom, and close the screen and just been like, and be stuck in the same place that I was 6 months ago.
Yeah. And I just want to honor you and your openness and vulnerability, your willingness to stand in the fire, because sometimes when we're coming up against those feelings of resistance, like that's where the freaking gold is. That's where the big shift is possible, to step into this whole new reality of possibility, quantum wealth. It's something everyone's talking about right now. We'll talk about that more in a couple minutes here. So just honoring the fact that you were willing to say, I'm ready for something more, and I'm willing to look at what is this sticky stuff that is coming up. And taking also a stand, like this is also about finding out, like, what are your passions? What are you passionate about? What are you talking about when you're putting yourself out there? So can you talk a little bit about who you take a stand for in film and television for representation?
Yeah, I grew up, I grew up, my first dream role, like if I could have been anybody, if I could have done any job, was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like, I know it's super cheesy, but I loved that show growing up, and I wanted to be her. I just saw this like fierce woman kicking butt, and I wanted to be that. But I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me on television, and to some degree, I still don't. And so whenever I decided years ago, I decided, I'm not going to wait for Hollywood to greenlight me. I'm going to greenlight myself. And so I decided, I'm going to take a stand for BIPOC people. I am going to take a stand for BIPOC stories. I'm going to include the LGBTQ plus community in that, because many of my brothers and sisters identify in that community. And so what I want to do is build a table for BIPOC artists and LGBTQ plus artists. I want to invite people to my table, and I want us to tell stories together. And I want to do that by developing television, podcasts, short films. I want to make my own production company. So that's the dream. Yeah.
Again, I'm getting the tingles. Like, I just feel like whenever someone's really speaking into their truth, and just feeling like this is your essence of who you are. This is what you came here to do. The changes you're meant to make for people in their lives. And it's just so exciting when we can have you tapping into that and actually doing that in the world. So if anyone were wanting to follow you or connect with you, where would be the best place for them to do that?
I am on Facebook, on Giovannie Cruz. I'm on Instagram at Giovannie Cruz. I'm on Twitter, Giovannie C Actor. I'm everywhere. But the easiest way to find me is just to go to my website. It's www.giovannicruz.com. I've got all my socials on there. You can find me. You can also learn more about me and what I'm doing.
Awesome. And what are you most excited about in your business right now, in your career that's coming up for you?
Well, today, actually, we are launching a Seed and Spark campaign for a movie I'm associate producer on. So actually, it's a short series. So this is the first series that I've associate produced. I've directed other things, but yeah, today's our launch day, and it's just been amazing watching everything come in already.
Oh my gosh, wonderful. And I know this is, the story too, that often the women in my community tell too, is that they are meeting people are showing up in their sphere, they're attracting in opportunities, whereas before there was a lot more of you asking and sort of hustling, right? But now you had even a recent experience where you met someone on set who, when you were able to express who you were and what you do and what your purpose is in a very concise way, they asked you, right, to see your script.
Yeah, I was on set. I was doing my episode of Walker, and the director, I just started telling her, like, this is what I'm so excited for women and in movie making and TV and filmmaking and everything. And I want to make a thing. And this is what I want to do. Basically the same spiel about wanting to empower women, BIPOC artists and LGBTQ+. And she said, well, my husband's developing a platform to stream, and what you're doing sounds like what he wants to produce. Will you send me your materials? And if I hadn't had my expert affirmation statement so fleshed out, that I could just start talking about what lights me up, I don't think that opportunity would have happened. And other opportunities like it, for instance, the campaign that we just launched today, I met that young woman in your group in Shine Insiders. So, and again, it was just kind of, I saw someone who had a similar light to mine. I was attracted to it. She was attracted to mine. And she said, would you partner with me on this? And I said, hell yeah, like, of course. So, yeah.
I love this. Yes. And that's the magnetism that starts to happen, where you get more results with less effort, less efforting, right? It's more about being in your light of who you are. And then it starts to just click in, and you're just a walking example of how this is possible and how it can work for people. So for anyone who maybe is where you were a few months back, what would you say to them today if they're a little bit hesitant on, like, is this visibility work really for me? Could it work for me? You know, what would you say to them?
Yeah, if you're afraid of visibility, I would say look inward and figure out why and what's holding you back from becoming visible, and then take counteraction. If what you normally do is kind of curl inward and hide yourself and hide your light, then maybe consider taking counteraction and allowing yourself to be uncomfortable in your expansion, and then see what happens. Because the story that I told myself was, I'm keeping myself safe. But the truth of the matter is, I kept myself stuck. So, and I didn't want to be stuck anymore. So now that I'm expanding, I'm seeing the growth, and I'm still safe. I'm still safe. Nothing's happened. And then regarding like the cost aspect, everything that I was so worried about with my lack mindset, I mean, when the checks come in, I'm so grateful. I'm like, yes, universe, you hear me. Like, this is affirmation that I'm where I'm standing where I'm supposed to be. So it has not even been a problem or an issue.
I love that. And I always say that, yes, when we say yes to ourselves, right, by leading in deeper to our purpose, the universe responds, it rises up to meet us, to support us in implementing and executing, to help us facilitate what that purpose is in the world and the impact that we're here to make. So, oh my God, this has just been so incredible. You're such a shining light in our community and such a walking, incredible example of how this stuff works. And for anyone who is here listening, resonating with anything that we're talking about today, I just wanted to let you know that I am hosting a free masterclass on Monday, the 14th at 3 p.m. Pacific. It's called Monetize Your Magic to Ditch the Hustle, Struggle, Cycle. Right? So this is exactly all that we're talking about today, where when you get into that aligned purpose, you know how to put yourself out there into the world in a way that feels good, to become magnetic, and the opportunities start coming into you. This is all possible. And so I'm going to cover the secret number 1 is going to be the top 2 mistakes that are keeping you in a cycle of overgiving and under-earning, the things that are preventing you from leading a nourished life of prosperity. The secret number 2 I'm going to reveal is how to land in the press and then leverage your wins to make more money and break through to your next level. And secret number 3, the 3 ways to easily attract your ideal audience without having to pay for expensive ads, create endless content, or spin your wheels, wondering where to focus your time, money, and energy. And this is for women in business who are ready to 10x their visibility, their impact, and their income. So if this is you, don't miss. Go ahead in this post, click the link, sign up now for your seat for the class on Monday. And I would love to see all of you there. Giovannie, thank you so much for coming out today. Any last thoughts before we wrap up here?
No, I was so nervous about this because again, stepping into visibility, it can be nerve-wracking, but I really had a lot of fun. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm honored you chose me to hot seat this month. So thank you.
Yes, thank you for sharing your gifts, your genius with the world. And it is every time. I mean, every time I'm getting visible, people think, oh, just because she's teaching it and been a publicist for 20 some odd years, this is easy for her. And I will say that, I struggle with it too. Like we're all in it. Like every time we do something new and different, it's stretching our capability, our comfort zone. We're all going into that expansion. So the more I can keep doing it, the more I'm able to expand and hold the space in the container for all of you ladies that are there to expand and grow. And then you turn around and you do it for the people in your communities. And it's just this magical, beautiful synergy that happens when we lean into it. So yay, I'm so excited. We had this conversation today and you're amazing and wonderful. And thanks to all of you who joined us or are watching this even on the replay. And we'll see you all soon. We'll see you in the group. Hopefully we'll see you Monday. And also we'll see you on the next episode of Shine Insiders Live. Thank you, Giovannie. Big kisses.
Bye.